edition of Roll the Vote. I'm standing here with Doc. Hello, Doc. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me, Steve. I appreciate it. And everything you're doing here at the Jam Shack. It's absolutely amazing. I'm very happy to be here and be a part of this because just like me, man, you've got the heart and the passion to make things happen. This is how we do it. So thank you for doing everything that you do, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. I'm going to walk off the stage, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to let Doc take it away. He has a pretty interesting story to tell us. He is an author of a book. He is a veteran activist here in the state of Michigan. He is outspoken. Stay tuned for big things coming from Doc Ansler, author of Strains of War. Stay tuned.
So again, my name is Robert Gage-Ansler, or as most people will call me, Doc. Especially if you're military, or most veterans will call me Doc. It's just a term that picked up a long time ago when I joined the military. I put this little slideshow together. I'm not sure how well it's going to work out. I'll do my best with this. Put it together real quick. This is just a quick rundown of myself. I've got a pretty unique story here to share with you guys, and this is something that's actually going to be putting Michigan on the map as far as cannabis. It's a big deal, and pretty excited to be able to bring this to you. I've stayed pretty much out of the limelight the last couple of years, especially the last 10 months. I've spent pretty much by myself on a small piece of property that I got here in Michigan, and I wrote this book and a few other things to open myself up to veterans and to help the cause for PTSD. And I know they're trying to change it just to PTS now, and but I don't think that it's a disease, but it's not a disease. You know, and I understand the fight on that. Thanks again, Steve. Appreciate it. I just give you a bit of history about myself. Growing up, I came from a pretty crappy background, broken home, and had some issues during childhood, like a lot of people did, and moved around a lot. But pulled myself together, and so far I've had a pretty good life. I'm 45 years old, and I've got one daughter, Sophia. Hi. And just a quick rundown of myself. After high school, I ended up joining the military, and when I did that, I became a hospital corpsman in the Navy. And I spent about 2 years of that up in Oakland Naval Hospital. And after that, I ended up going to Kuwait for a short time, about 19 years old. That was my first idea of what genocide really looked like. And after that, Kuwait, I was there for just a few months. It really wasn't a war, but after that, I came back down to. I actually switched over to the green side and became a medic with the Marine Corps. I was with 1st Recon Light Armor Vehicle Battalion. Combat medic, I was there for 2 years as well. After that, I moved to Michigan. This is over out in California. I moved to Michigan in '94, and in '96 I became a paramedic. I've been a paramedic now for about 19 years, and I've been a paramedic all over Michigan, pretty much southern Michigan. Hospitals, ERs, Detroit. I worked Detroit EMS for a short time. So I've seen it all as a medic. I've seen what drunk driving could do to someone. I've seen what drunk driving can do to other families. I've seen what alcohol can do to a family, what alcohol can do to kids, domestic violence, child abuse, things like that. And being a medic, I learned a lot. You know, I really was able to see humanity at a pretty amazing level, and I learned a lot during that time. Being a paramedic, it's been a pretty good adventure, but even after that, I moved on, and I became a professional firefighter at Dearborn. I was a Dearborn firefighter for 5 years. And after that, during that time, it was during 9/11, and I remember walking out of Station 4 in Dearborn in the morning of 9/11 and watching everything happen on the tube with my brothers, and that was pretty difficult to watch. Shortly after that, I quit Dearborn and left. Ended up going to with the war kicking up and everything. I had that certain idea that I wanted to do something more. I wanted to move on, and So I decided that to go into contracting. I joined Triple Canopy and became a worldwide professional security contractor, high-threat security contractor with Department of Defense and Department of State and Department of Defense with security clearance as well. And I did that for almost 7 years. I did 4 years in Iraq and a few years in Afghanistan. And again, during that time, I learned a lot as well. I've seen a lot in war. I've had a lot of stories. I've lost friends. I've lost. I've been the last person that a lot of people have seen before they died. Through all that, I came home and was diagnosed with multi-level PTSD. Thank you, government. Appreciate that. And you know, it's like cops or anything else. You signed up for it, but you don't sign up for war. You sign up to protect your country, but you don't sign up for war. But when you go to it, you deal with it. And I worked as a contractor, like I said, for 7 years. At first, I was over in Basra, and I started with Triple Canopy, and I worked there for just like I said, a short time. And I was lucky to be tasked with a group of guys that kind of call ourselves a dream team. We ran the front of our motorcade a lot, and I'm having a hard time talking to the camera.
It's okay, I understand that, man. No problem, and I'll edit it a little bit for us.
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm gonna do my best to represent everybody the way you guys deserve it, because you guys deserve it.
So like I said, I want to give a quick background of what I've done and kind of give you an idea of why I wrote this book and kind of what I've been through and kind of what it's culminated to do right now. Over in Tulil, after Basra, I was in Basra for a few years, and right when it finally burned down after taking mortar attacks, maybe over 300 a month, inside our walls, it finally burned down, so we ended up going to Tulil Air Force Base up near Nasiriyah. And I was there for about a year and a half, and another group of guys worked really well together, and it was amazing. We did some really good stuff together. This is what they're calling that bond, you know, when the Warrior Point guys are talking about the bond, right? This is the bond really happens. I mean, when you live with someone like this, you know, when you got their six and you know, they got yours, after a long time, you know, you kind of grow accustomed to that, you know, and you don't get that when you're home. And the only time that we do get that is when we contact other veterans and when we have that camaraderie, and it's something that you can't fake it. During my time in Tulil, first in Basra, I met Brian Hershey Reese, and we hit off pretty well. He's actually from Ann Arbor, and he's got some family that lives up north. And we hit off pretty well. He came from a pretty crappy background too, and as far as his childhood, he had a father committed suicide, and then he became a contractor right after the military. Wanted to make a difference and continue making a difference. Brian and I got along pretty well, and he was an amazing friend of mine. And we ended up. He actually when he came into contracting, he had a friend named Chaz Crawford, who was another friend of his that was his best friend, that he got into contracting, and he ended up being killed by a suicide bomber. And Brian took that pretty hard. He took it to heart as if he caused his death, because he helped him get the job. So he was carrying that with him, that guilt, that survivor's guilt. It's something as a medic I've seen a lot. I've had a lot of guys you know, come to me just as a medic. I've had guys in my hooch in the middle of the night, you know, crying, you know, worried about family, friends, whatever things are going through. So I've seen PTSD grow in people, and I've seen how it actually can take someone over, and it's difficult. It's very difficult. Let's see. After we were working in Iraq, he ended up leaving Iraq, trying to start school, but with the PTSD issues, he was trying to just chasing these demons, or these demons chasing him, and he was having a lot of issues with it. He went to the VA for help, and they made a suggestion that he had PTSD himself, and he wanted to be looked at for it. And the VA just called it a joke and pushed him aside, and he never got the help that he needed. And because of that, he decided to just start taking care of himself on his own. And he really didn't have to know how to really do it. So he ended up going to. He was having some back pains he was an Army Ranger, and he was having some back pains with a lot of jumps that he's had and stuff. So he was always looking for some sort of something to help that. He wasn't using cannabis at the time, and because of that, he's tried other medications. But there's something he didn't know. He didn't know he was addicted to, he didn't know that he was allergic to OxyContin, and a friend of his gave him one for his back pain, and he ended up suffocating to death and passed away, died by himself. Pretty much because of the VA. If the VA would have taken care of him in the first place, he never would have happened. And it's kind of a sad story. After Iraq, after 4 years, I was having a hard time already, and I wanted to stay home. This is around 2009, and this is when Michigan just went green. And I started reading about it. I started listening from other friends. My mother used to smoke cannabis, and I used to chastise her for it all the time. Again, because I wasn't educated at the time. After coming home from Iraq, I tried to stay home. I figured, oh, you know what, maybe I can make $1 million in my basement and grow, just like everyone else, right? And maybe make some money and take care of some patients. And I did the right thing. The first book I picked up was Jorge Cervantes' marijuana horticulture book. And it says right here, the Indoor-Outdoor Medical Grower's Bible. It is a medicine. And I wanted to thank Jorge for this, definitely, because it really pushed me into a whole new level of understanding about cannabis and really what it can do for people and how to grow it and how to grow it the right way. And it was amazing. So right from there, I started to grow. I got my patients, I got my card, of course. And I learned everything I could about growing. I learned, in fact, I started to love it, and I actually started learning the whole history of it. And I went all the way back to the beginning, and I learned more than I ever wanted to, and I realized, oh my God, this is a passion. I realized that I really actually enjoy growing and using cannabis and having patients and growing cannabis for them and taking care of them. And I found a whole new passion. I realized, wow, I think it just changed gears. And it was well. I did really well at it. I loved doing it. But again, you can't make $1 million growing in your basement. And after a while, I realized it was too difficult for me. And among other things, other responsibilities at the time, I couldn't do it anymore. So I ended up going back overseas, contracting, and this is when I went to Afghanistan. And when I went to Afghanistan, when I got to Kabul, I was handpicked actually by the Pentagon to work with this team called Task Force Dragon Slayer. And what we would do is we were tasked to work for the Army Corps of Engineers to facilitate finding forward operating bases so that they could stop the defense of the Taliban coming into the country. See it on here. I wish I had a better picture here, but
where's the guitar LCD?
Yeah. If you want to, actually, you know, as far as Afghanistan, the only two places in Afghanistan that I know that they brought they brought stuff back from overseas, right? Is our Sharif right here, and they've got another one way down here, that I think they found something too, like that they had some seeds. Here's Kabul. That's the capital right here. And then south of Kabul, you've got your mountains. This is all your southern Kush right here. You've got your coast. There's a passageway right here that goes between Afghanistan and Pakistan called the Coast Guard's Passage. That's the Taliban Trail. That's the trail that they were using to pretty much get back and forth. And it was heavily used a lot. So they figured if we could build a defense there and help the Afghan National Army build a defense there, that we can keep that from happening and maybe stop that influx. So my team, we were tasked with helping the Army Corps of Engineers with doing that. And in Afghanistan was definitely a different story than Iraq. As far as the Middle East, it's definitely different thinking still. When Afghanistan, the last place I was tasked at doing this mission was in an area called the Paktika province, and it was about 6,000 feet level, about 6,000 feet above sea level, and the high desert of Afghanistan. And this team that I worked with was a great group of guys that we did a lot of missions, a lot of firefights. We had a good time, to say the least. But in 2012, the last, I'd say second week in November 2012, we were doing a mission at the mouth of the Coast Guard's Passage, and we were helping the Army Corps of Engineers find a new area to build a forward operating base. Well, we were off grid, or probably about, I can't even say, maybe a few clicks off grid when we got up there. And we were at about 8,000 feet. And we were doing our mission. We were trying to find this area. And my buddy accidentally came across some cannabis plants during that time. And knowing what I knew, knowing everything I knew about growing and the need for cannabis and the need for the medicine, I realized right there that this is something different. The reason being is because these plants were being grown at about 8,000 feet. They were being cultivated. It wasn't wild. It wasn't a field of cannabis. It was just maybe 13, 14 plants, about a foot, maybe 18 inches tall at the most. And they were in pristine condition. They were almost frozen in time. Like I said, it was about 8,000 feet in the Kush Mountains. And they were, like I said, pristine condition. I realized right there, this is a miracle. This should be growing here. And knowing again what I knew, I realized that I needed to do something. So I grabbed those plants up and picked them up, grabbed as many as I could, and brought them back to my hooch, to my room, arguing with my team leader the whole time, actually. We finally, when I got back to the hooch, I knew it was a huge discovery. I knew this was something important. Maybe nobody else did, but I did. And I continued, and I thought that from that exact moment, it was like an epiphany. So I took the plants and I put them on my room, on the floor, and I put a Coke can right there for reference. I took a picture of it. And so these are pure Afghani land-raised strain right there, okay? No one else in the world has these. This comes from a place that plants have never been brought from, seeds have never been brought from. And they were absolutely beautiful. I took a close-up picture of one of the female buds. It's hard to tell here, but I mean it's absolutely all crystally purple, of course, because it was very cold. The temperatures are about 0 degrees in the morning, about 25, 30 degrees at night or during the day. And knowing that and knowing what condition they were in, knowing what I knew about growing, I knew for a fact that the genetics in these alone was a big deal. It wasn't just the flower, it's the genetics, the fact that how you could take the genetics of this plant. I mean, think about it, the environmental strength. I mean, instead of finding something that we found 50 years ago, or that came through Holland or Amsterdam, and it has been bred, or has been used for pesticides and this and that, okay, this is directly from the soil of Afghanistan, where the best stuff in the world comes from, and it's purely organic. This is the only thing that anybody can call purely organic. Everybody wants to say there's an organic, this is organic, this is grown organic. No, you might grow it, but after a while, if you grow it, have seeds again, whatever pesticides, whatever nutrients, whatever is used to grow that gets in the DNA. Okay, so after a while, especially after so many years of doing this, you might say it's organic, but there's nothing that's truly organic except this, because I'm growing this without any pesticides, without any nutrients or anything. It's just straight water. I want to keep it as natural and organic as possible. So then I took the seeds, and it took me about 2 weeks to pull the seeds out, sitting on the cold floor in my room. And I pulled the seeds out, and after enough time of doing that, I figured, what am I going to do now? Now I got these seeds, and I'm in Afghanistan. What am I going to do? Smuggle them home? I mean, this is insane. I took a picture of it with my gear. Again, just want to prove that this is true. This is happening. These are real Afghani seeds. So after a while, being there, especially close to 7 years, I had my other guys on my team, Mike and Matt, were also with me. One of our other guys got sent home early. His leg was messed up, but we've all been through a lot. We all had PTSD. We've all been seen, wives come and go, watched our kids grow up on internet and through Skype, and we've had a lot of buddies that we've lost, a lot of friends that we've lost. We were just at our point. We were just having a hard time. So one night, he said, "Screw it, let's smoke it." We didn't care. Let's smoke it. So we actually went to the chow hall and got a Granny Smith apple out of the chow hall and made it to a nice little bong, and took some of that female bud, crushed it up and got it in there, and we went up by the burn barrel outside. This isn't us, it's just a picture of where I found out a burn barrel. But we went outside at night and smoked it out of this apple, and in maybe about 10 minutes, hacking and eating half of it. And we go back in the room, and we're laying in the room, and we're just kind of chilling and get our bearings back. Again, it's the middle of winter, so we're freezing. And after about 10 minutes, my buddy Matt, he's sitting in a chair, and he goes to stand up, and he kind of falls off the chair. And I look at him, I said, "Are you okay?" And he says, he looks up at me, and he's laughing, and he says, "I can't feel my legs." And then I looked over at my buddy Mike, and he's laying on the bed, and he looks at me, and he's like, I feel like I'm floating. And then all of a sudden, it just hit me from head to toe, and I'm like, it's like a rush, like just a pure rush of just no pain. And it just hit me, and it was like from head to toe tingling. My lips were numb, my tongue was tingling, and my back pain was gone, my neck pain was gone, and we sat there and we laughed for about 2 hours. And I forgot about every mission that I had before that, and every person that can't get out of my head. And I forgot about all of that, and I didn't think about the next day. I didn't think about the mission that I had the next day, or the other crap I had to deal with, or the other stuff that missing my daughter, or missing my family. And that didn't matter. What mattered was right there in the moment. I was right there. I was pain-free, and I was right there with my buddies in the moment. And that moment was burned into my head, because I realized that this is medicine. If this isn't medicine, what is? Because this is medicine. And it was like being, like I said, like being awake. Like the Buddha says, you're awake when you're truly in the moment, right? When you're truly in the moment and you're right there, it's like you're truly awake. And I felt more awake on cannabis than I ever had any other time in my life. And being a firefighter and a paramedic and, a security contractor with a security clearance, Department of State, Department of Defense, everything else. I mean, I come from a pretty solid background. And for me to change over to do something like this, to actually not just realize that cannabis was a medicine. I mean, I've known it before, but it's like a new epiphany. It's like it hit me all over again. And I realized that there's no way I could ever lead this in Afghanistan. I have to find a way to get these seeds home. And my buddies thought I was crazy, but I did. And it just, I had to make a decision. So I figured a way to get them home, and I did. And once I got home, I realized that I got to do something with these seeds. I got to do the right thing. And so since over the last almost 2 years now, I've bought about 34 little acres somewhere in Michigan, and I'm legally growing these seeds the right way, and I'm keeping them organic, and I'm developing strains, brand new. I'm introducing brand new Kush strains to the world. More than one. I've done more than one, and I'm developing strains for PTSD and related symptoms. I mean, there's got over 40 plus symptoms that these plants can help. And knowing the issues that these veterans are having with PTSD and with cannabis and with the VA and with the other issues with the government and all the other crap that we got to go through, I've made a decision between being a grower and an advocate on top of everything else, to take care of, to continue being a medic. You know, they say when you go overseas and you come back, you can't turn it off. And it's true, you can't turn it off. But as a medic, I can't turn the medic off. And I care about my buddies, and I care about the veterans, and I care about all the stuff that we've been going through. And I thought, you know what? Because these plants found me, I didn't find them. And there was a reason for that. It's because I can do it. Because I'm crazy enough to bring it back. I'm crazy enough to make this happen, and I am. Now developing these strains with some help, a few veterans. Thank you, Steve, for having me here.
And my pleasure. Thank you.
Developing these strains and for PTSD research also, and for veterans' health and well-being. I think that with what I can do and with what this can do, I believe that we can really build a future for veterans and actually get them the help that they need. Because the only people who are going to help veterans is veterans. I mean, there's other people out there, of course, that are non-veteran, but most that I've seen, where the real help is, I've noticed, is the veterans helping veterans, and that's really that's your best organization. It's one of your best organizations right now, and I think that I'm fully involved in that. And I think that we can conquer PTSD. I mean, it's not a it's an issue that's growing. We're seeing it more and more. The science has proven it over and over again. So with the seeds, I also wrote a business plan, and I started a company called Mayrocky Genetics. Mayrocky is a Greek word. It doesn't have a definition. It just has a meaning, and it means to put all your love, soul, and creativity into something. So that's why I call this Mayrocky Genetics. This is my new seed company based here in Michigan, and I had an opportunity to take it out, and I decided no, I'm going to keep it here because this is where it landed. And I'm writing a second book since actually landing in Detroit and helping veterans. And I think that this is an amazing start. I'm looking forward to it. So again, my name is Doc Gage-Strains, and you can check out Strains Awards on Amazon and Kindle right now, and I think it's $10. And also check me out on Facebook or facebook.com /The Strains of War. Please check it out. Please let people know about it. This book is all proceeds, everything from this book is going directly into PTSD research and veterans and for helping veterans. And I couldn't be more thankful than I am today. Again, thank you, Jam Shack. Thank you, Steve. And have a good night.
Thank you, Doc. Stay up there, everybody. Don't go anywhere.